Onboarding remote teams is a challenge, but today that changes because in this video we'll reveal the 5 fundamental stages to the perfect remote onboarding that will skyrocket your team's performance and retention, plus 2 core principles to never forget. Whether you've been remote since day 1 or if you're just about to onboard your first remote hire, this video is your roadmap to effectively onboarding remote employees. Picture a new hire in your business. Let's call her Alex. Alex joins the team remotely and it's day 1. She's got your welcome email. She's got some people saying hello on Teams or Slack. She's sent a range of different tools to sign up for and tons of documents and information for her to read and run through. But the true question is, how much of this is she actually understanding? How much of it is she retaining? And does she know exactly where to go if that information doesn't fully make sense the first time she goes through it? The overwhelm is real and the value is not. The shift to remote work isn't just a trend, it is of course a revolution. It's about us tapping into the global talent pool, embracing diversity and enriching our company culture. But the burning question remains, how can we make our remote onboarding as effective as in-person experiences? Making sure that our teams get up to value fast and stay with the business for as long as possible. Here are your 5 core considerations for a remote onboarding process, and of course the 2 principles to never forget. Firstly, planning. Believe it or not, effective remote onboarding begins way before that first day. In fact, it begins even before we start interviewing for the role, and that starts with meticulous planning. Essentially, here we are looking to define our roles incredibly clearly. We need to be asking ourselves, what is the mission of that role? What activities will they be executing on a regular basis? Are they ambiguous and exploratory? Or are they really well defined with very strong processes? We also want to think about who they are working with. What time zones are these people on and how do we best communicate? And ultimately understanding what success looks like for the role. This clarity shapes our approach to onboarding. And in the remote realm, ambiguity is the enemy. Clear expectations set the stage for success. So now we know the role, we can start to onboard the person, right? Not just yet, my friend, because the second fundamental of onboarding still happens before you've even selected the perfect candidate. The perfect remote onboarding needs to also be considered as a fundamental part of your hiring process. Your hiring process isn't just a filter, it's a two-way mirror. It's a window into your company's soul. It's where you can showcase your brand's culture and values, the way you communicate, and in this phase, it really mirrors your company's ethos. Think of every touch point with your prospective candidate as part of their onboarding. So we can use each element to share part of our company culture, to explore new insights about the role, to introduce them to new team members, and think how you can organically share parts of that role that equip them for success in every interaction. The final stage of our interview process at Waybook is actually to conduct a live work project with both the person's direct manager and one of their potential core team. This is such a valuable way of getting our new hire excited about the role, making them feel at ease with the people that they'll be working with, and also ensuring that we can have strong communication from the get-go. So now we get to the 3rd fundamental, and it's what I like to call day -1. This is all about giving our hire the best chance possible to hit the ground running. Let's assume that they're pumped for their new role and are really keen to make a great impression from the get-go. If we accidentally limit that momentum, not only does it limit them, but it also sets the pace for all of their future work. We run on the principle of giving our new hires almost everything they need before they start their new role. So after contracting and before starting, we essentially add them into our internal Waybook, which has all of the welcome information, the essential admin tasks, the tech setups, the role fundamentals, and they can go through all of this before day 1. Now, while you can't always stipulate that this has to be done before they join, we've found that almost every new hire is eager to go through all of this content before they begin. So from within their first hour on the job, we're hitting deep into the value, which is great for us, it's great for the teams, and it's also really empowering for the new hire. So now it's day 1. We've cleared the ambiguity, our new hire is up to speed, now the real work begins. because this first week is crucial and it's also our fourth fundamental. In the first week, we recommend breaking down the core parts of that person's role into individual tasks and responsibilities that they have in order for them to succeed. For each element, try and ensure that you have the clear expectations, any procedures, any information, and the tools that they need to do an excellent job. For almost every, let's say, standard role, like a social media manager, a paralegal, a designer, most roles in our businesses, we would recommend breaking down those job responsibilities into 5 equal chunks. These 5 chunks then become their onboarding segments. Now, a great onboarding process introduces a new hire into each of these onboarding segments or bundle of responsibilities. And for each of them, we look to share the 3 core elements. Firstly, it's the context of that work and why it's important. Secondly, it's the core procedures that they need to do within that work. And finally, it's a small test, an assessment, or a challenge in order for them to put what they're learning into practice. Now, dependent on these work segments, you can move through one of these every 2 to 3 days, which essentially means that you can bring your team member fully up to speed within about 2 weeks rather than the standard of 2 months. Plus, they would have had a taster of all of the different activities that comprise their role. As an onboarding bonus, we recommend that you assign your new hires a team buddy from a different department to help guide them through their process. And make sure that you balance introductory meetings and some elements of fun to just avoid that overwhelm, which can so easily happen, especially when you're behind a screen and remote. It's about creating a welcoming and connected atmosphere from the get-go. So now you've nailed your planning, your hiring, your prep, and the first week. The final fundamental part of our remote onboarding process is feedback and improvement. Think about your new hires as customers and your internal onboarding process as a product. Ask your new hires for their feedback early and often. What's hitting the mark and what is it missing? Their insights are truly golden for continuous refinement of your onboarding process. Ask early and often. The insights you will gain in those early days are absolutely essential in order for us to continue to iteratively improve our process for the next person, as well as for that hire who is in the middle of their onboarding. So now you've mastered the fundamental stages for your remote onboarding. It's time for the 2 bonuses that you should never forget: culture and technology. Let's talk about culture. Now, you no doubt already know the importance of culture and community in your business. A Gartner study found that a positive business culture leads to a 30% higher level of innovation, as well as many other studies and research showing massively positive trends of what positive culture can do for your business. But building culture in a remote team is a whole new beast and actually really tricky. In an office environment, think about everything that you can do to create and build your culture. That might be your artwork on the walls, the coffee machines, the breakout spaces, even down to the temperature of your office. Now, as a remote team, you're naturally quite limited to what you can control. So spending more energy on building a robust remote culture is the backbone of a successful remote team. Now, while you can't exactly control where your team members are sitting, the comfort of their chair, or the temperature in the room, you can over-index in sharing those stories across the team, celebrating milestones, encouraging virtual coffee breaks, and thinking outside of the box on what activities you can encourage your team to do that can really enhance and mirror your culture. These small moments that you can create across days, weeks, and months really knit a sense of community, which is an element that is vital for creating culture in a remote setting. So now let's look at incorporating technology. If you're onboarding remote teams, then you'll be no stranger to the benefits and in fact the necessity of the right technology within your business. But don't forget to think from first principles when choosing the technology that is right for your remote onboarding. Technology truly is your ally, and we can leverage tools like Asana for project management or Teams and Slack for communication. But think about your knowledge as a product of your business as well. Centralizing your knowledge in a structured, searchable, single source of truth that you can share with your team is arguably one of the most important aspects of keeping your team aligned and efficient while scaling remotely. And actually is one of the main reasons behind us initially creating Waybook, to do just that. Now, these platforms aren't just functional, they are the lifelines that bind your remote team together. Remote onboarding, it's a minefield, but when it's done right, it can really lead to a highly engaged and productive team. It's all about planning, preparation, and continuous improvement. By considering these fundamentals, you're not just onboarding employees, you're building a strong and cohesive remote team. If you found this video helpful and want to dive a little bit deeper, check out our video on how to build an effective SOP for your team. And if you're looking to take your onboarding process to the next level, then don't forget to check out Waybook, the ultimate tool for streamlining and organizing your team's onboarding, training, and giving them a single source of truth. Until next time, keep optimizing, keep innovating, and I hope you enjoy some smooth scaling.